mean, some people on, like, one end are, like, so nervous. They're, like, literally
Mhm.
sweating as we're going through the 360. So I, nuance my delivery there. Some people are like, "Emily, I pick the people who I don't get along with, who are very critical of me. They, always have something negative to say about me and my project and work style, and I wanted them on the 360, so bring it on." So there's lots of different personalities kind of taking in the information, but what's the typical reaction you get from your end for people who have received the 360?
Yeah, so fortunately, the reaction is very positive. And I think a big part of that is because of the way that the 360 arc kind of happens based on the
Mhm.
report that the coachee receiving. I will share when I was going through my 360, I was kind of in the middle of everything you've mentioned where I was nervous to receive the feedback, but I was also really hungry for the feedback because I really
Yeah.
wanted to know, everyone's being so nice to me at work, but what can I really work on now that people are sharing some things anonymously? So it's a little bit of apprehension, but I think before I even got to the survey, and I think what all of our coaches do really well, what my coach did really well, is this idea of creating an environment up front that is safe. We do a little bit of contracting in the coaching terms of our agreements of how we're going to work together in this session. So she and I had a conversation about how are you going to react when something comes up that you don't agree with? How do we want to talk about it as it comes up? We even made an agreement, which is sometimes really hard in a 360 with anonymous feedback of saying, we're not going to read into who shared this anonymous feedback. We're really going to try and just understand this and reflect and take it in. So the first step was definitely having that conversation with your coach.
Mm.
And then in terms of the report itself, folks generally react positively because I think the way that we build them up to receiving feedback that can sometimes be harder to hear. For example, when they read the report and they talk through the report with the coach, the first thing that they see are their strengths. So they see a numerical chart that shows them, here's what everyone says you're really strong at. And then you read the next page and you get to hear all of the amazing things that everyone said about you of what are your strength areas? Why are you an amazing person to work with? And it really helps to let that sink in as well. I'm curious if you've seen this, Emily, where sometimes coaches, if sometimes it's hard for them to take in the positives too.